Afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to talk about diabetes because now we've reached a stage where it's just not okay to live with diabetes. For the longest time, we've been told that it's a disease that you need to have for a lifetime, but that's a lie for most people because we now understand today while we speak that there are thousands of people across the world who are in the process or have already reversed their type 2 diabetes to the extent that their doctors no longer need them on medication. As you know, one of the biggest issues with the whole COVID is the complications that come if someone who is diabetic gets it and the complications that follow post that. So as the world is currently changing, we have new bacterias all the time. We know that because we have antibiotic resistance, which means antibiotics are not working on certain bacterias, which means the strains of bacterias are changing. And the same thing with viruses. So I think it's reached a point where we should be highly motivated to start the process of reversing our type 2 diabetes. Type 1, very, very difficult to reverse, but can it be managed? Absolutely, yes. That's an autoimmune condition, but today we're talking about type 2 diabetes. So I think, obviously I don't know everyone's cases personally, but I'm going to talk about the simple lifestyle changes and the things that you need to understand so you can begin your process right now. As always, do not jump off your medication without your doctor in the loop. Even the 1,000+ people who we have reversed their diabetes, their doctors or our doctors are always in the loop because there is a way to wean yourself off the medication. You can't just get off the medication. At the same time, you just can't restart the medication without your doctor being in the loop. So that's number one. Number two, if you choose to try any of these lifestyle changes or anything like that, always keep your doctor in the loop. Number three, if you don't believe you can reverse your diabetes, then you can drop off the call right now because if you don't believe anything in life, nothing works at all. So the whole point is it's not your fault that you've been told that things like thyroid and diabetes, you got to live with it for a lifetime. That's only because medicine doesn't have a cure. And that's only because medicine only suppresses a symptom. But we fail to look at what happens when you change your lifestyle. It's obviously in most cases for type 2 diabetes, it's 100% poor lifestyle causes type 2 diabetes. The whole myth of hereditary, yes, if your parents have it, you have a massive chance of getting it. But if you take precautions, it doesn't mean you have to get it. So today we understand there are a lot of people who say that, oh, my parents have it, and they accept the fact that they're going to get it. And when they get it, they just jump onto medication, which is the right thing to do, but they don't do anything to change their lifestyles. And that's why they live with diabetes. Today it's diabetes, tomorrow you get high blood pressure. Then you have high blood pressure and diabetes, and eventually that becomes kidney disease or kidney failure. So you need to understand that, fine, if you're on a medicine, it's not a crime. It's nothing to feel bad about. But now, what are you going to do to reverse your diabetes? If you cannot reverse it, what are you going to do to get it down, your dosage to the lowest possible dosage by your doctor? Okay. What we need to understand is having uncontrolled diabetes is disastrous for your health. Not just not diabetes. It is disastrous for your arteries, inflammation in the body. It is disastrous for your kidneys, your nephrons, everything in the human body. Because you see, blood sugar travels in your blood vessels. Your blood vessels supply blood to every single cell in the body, every single organ in the body, including your brain. Today, we're scientifically connections between diabetes and Alzheimer's. As you all know, there's something called type 3 diabetes as well. We have blood sugar levels affecting the health of your brain. So you may have diabetes. It may be controlled because you're on a medication and you think everything's good in your life. Please understand that it's only your symptom that is suppressed, but you still have diabetes. So the point is, how do we reverse diabetes? What are the lifestyle changes that we must start making? The first thing is people Google all the best foods for diabetes and they start eating that thinking that diabetes will go. And as you can see, it never goes that way. Yes, food is important. There are several foods, several spices that have an impact in bringing down your blood sugar levels. But that's only when you're eating the food. You have to couple nutrition with your exercise, your sleep, and your emotional wellness. And we're going to talk about all of these four today. First, coming down to your nutrition. Please understand that let's understand there are two types of diabetes. One is where you're producing insufficient insulin, and one is when you have insulin resistance. Okay, so let's understand I eat an apple right now, or any food. It could be an apple, it could be a bag of chips, it could be a chocolate. When I eat it, okay, it breaks down into blood sugar. Now my blood sugar levels rise, perfectly normal, everything is good. My pancreas need to produce insulin. Insulin brings down my blood sugar levels. How does it do that? Insulin knocks at your cell doors, the doors open, and it shoves the blood sugar into your cells, the doors close, and everything continues fine. Your blood sugar levels in your blood are back down to normal and everything is good. So in diabetes, you may have a problem of insulin resistance where your cells have lost the ability to communicate with insulin. Okay, so insulin keeps knocking at the cell door, but communication is broken. The cell door doesn't open to accept blood sugar, and your blood sugar stays in the blood and your levels rise, or your pancreas now start churning out more insulin because it recognizes that the blood sugar levels are not going down. Or we have an issue in the pancreas where we don't produce sufficient insulin. Now, the pancreas, that's the issue with the medical world. I have nothing against the medical world. We have thousands of patients on medicine. Our doctors put them on medicine, so I'm not against it. But I want to teach you how the medical world works. They look at diabetes as blood sugar levels and the pancreas. Now, in holistic medicine, you look at the entire body as a whole. The pancreas are also related to your digestive system. So when you're looking at diabetes, you also look at the way you digest food. You also look to see if you have indigestion, maybe you don't have the right amount of digestive enzymes, signifying another problem in your pancreas, probably inflammation. You may have pancreatitis. Pancreatitis can cause diabetes as well because it causes inflammation, doesn't allow some of the cells in your pancreas to work the right way. So if you're looking at recovery, if you're looking at reversal, you got to treat the body as a whole. You can't just have a heart problem and only look at the heart without looking at the liver, the kidney, the brain, pressure, and so many other things. So you see, it's extremely important to even look at your digestion. So when it comes to food, let's talk about the first vertical, which is food. Number one, okay, if you are eating a high carbohydrate diet, okay, it is impossible to reverse your diabetes. At the same time, I'm not asking you to starve yourself, but you have to make an effort to reduce your carbohydrates. So let's take a typical plate that may have some rice, dal, vegetables, maybe some meat on the side if you're non-vegetarian, okay? Now, an ideal plate should have lesser rice and more vegetable and more protein, your low carb. It's as simple as that. But if your plate is a traditional Indian plate that most people have now, where there's a pile of rice or 3 or 4 rotis, and the dal and the vegetable or the protein is lesser than the carbohydrates, that's a big problem for you. You're not going to be able to reverse your type 2 diabetes. So at every meal, at the same time, if you go no carb, that's extremely bad for you. The whole point is low carb. And when you go low carb, it doesn't mean you have to be hungry. If you increase your vegetable portion or your protein portion, you will still be full. So please understand that carbohydrates, overconsumption of carbohydrates and the wrong carbohydrates is your biggest enemy. So if you're eating white flour, you're eating maida, you're eating processed white sugar, processed food in a packet all the time, you're just spiking up your blood sugar levels and putting more burden on your pancreas. So you can still enjoy complex carbohydrates and normal carbohydrates like your whole grains, but the portion has to be way smaller. Do this for 7 days in a row at every meal and you will see your blood sugar levels drop. I'm not saying you reverse it, but you'll see your blood sugar levels drop, showing you the response of making a small dietary change to your blood sugar levels. Now you change that with everything else I tell you, and yes, your blood sugar levels will go back to normal, and there's a huge chance that you will improve insulin resistance because you're decreasing inflammation, and your doctors can slowly start lowering the dosage of your medication. So that's number one. If you're eating carbs and grains, you want them to be whole grains. Okay, now if you're eating rice mixed with dal, that's absolutely fine, even if it's white rice. A small portion of white rice mixed with a lot more dal and veggies in it, like a khichdi. Okay, most people will be able to eat that because the fiber will not allow your blood sugar levels to spike. Now, everyone's different. If your blood sugar levels have been really badly managed and fluctuating, maybe you won't even be able to do this. But as you start to correct it, you should be able to have a normal diet. All of our diabetics around the world today eat normal food, but portion control, and like I said, low carb. Fruits. You need to understand that most fruits contain enzymes that are great for your blood sugar levels and that are great for your pancreas. So you see the medical world and most nutritionists, no disrespect to anyone, they read paper and they say, oh, high GI means more diabetes. It doesn't mean that at all. If I take a fruit and I pair it with fiber, like maybe some almonds or some walnuts or something fibrous, okay, the fiber is not, or the protein is not going to let my blood sugar levels spike, which is why all of our diabetics have and enjoy 1 to 2 fruits a day. The problem is when you start to be over healthy and you have like a big platter of 5 to 6 fruits together, that's even bad for someone who doesn't have diabetes. So it all comes down to the pairing of your food. Yes, there are some fruits that have high GI and some which have low GI. So definitely over, something like you want to choose the lower GI fruits, which will be way better depending on your blood sugar levels. Two is when it comes to eating, please understand that fiber is extremely important. Today, most people are deficient in fiber. Most of them are not even meeting the daily requirement because most of our food tends to revolve around packaged food and food that is devoid of fiber. Or we're not eating fruits because someone told you that fruits are bad for diabetics. We have diabetics who even eat bananas, but they train right after that and their blood sugar levels are right down. So you see, the fruit is not a problem. It is your mindset towards it and the way that you eat it that becomes a huge problem. So please understand that nature has given us fruits and vegetables that have enzymes that are designed to keep our blood sugar levels healthy. Now, if you are highly diabetic, like I said, with fluctuating blood sugar levels, just jumping into fruits may not be the best option for you. But once you get them regulated, absolutely yes. When it comes to food, again, the kind of oil that you have to have cold pressed oil or pure ghee. It's as simple as that. Refined oils create inflammation. Inflammation is the number one reason why most people are insulin resistant. The cells don't open up to the knock of insulin because of inflammation. So you need to repair those cells. You need to relax your inflammation. And refined oils are the worst for people with diabetes or people, for anyone, for that matter, anyone. It may cost you a little bit more money to get pure ghee or pure or cold pressed oils, but it is way better and it'll be way cheaper than the money that you spend on your doctor visits and the money that you spend on your drugs in the long term, in the long run. So it's extremely important to understand your source of your oil. Three, when it comes to eating, respect the circadian rhythm of the body. You can't be eating at different timings every day because there is a natural fluctuation that anyway happens in your blood sugar levels, irrespective of diabetes, if you keep changing your eating patterns every day. If lunch is at 1 o'clock, eat your lunch at 1 o'clock every day. If dinner is at 7 o'clock, eat your dinner at 7 o'clock every single day. Do not keep long gaps in between. Do not keep changing your meal timings because your circadian rhythm gets out of whack and that impacts everything from your blood pressure to your blood sugar to every single aspect in the human body. Okay, now dinners. I think one of the biggest things that I've worked for all of our diabetics around the world is an earlier dinner. Try to have your dinner at least with sunset or within 1 hour post sunset. The earlier the dinner, the better your blood sugar levels the next morning. And once you finish your dinner, try not to eat anything for the next 12 hours. Now, if your blood sugar levels fall, okay, you need to figure that out and probably have a light snack like a handful of nuts or something like that. But don't eat fruit at night. You're not supposed to eat fruit after sunset. You do not want a simple carb in your body that will spike up your blood sugar levels at a time where a simple carb is not required. So the best snack for a diabetic at night is a handful of nuts. You can mix up the nuts, unsalted, of course. It could be almonds, pistachios, macadamia nuts, walnuts, whatever it is that suits you. If you don't have an allergy to it, you can have half a handful or a whole handful. That's your portion size in a day. That is the best snack for you to have. The worst thing to do for a diabetic is sit late night dinners, late night snacking while you're watching TV in a slouched up position, in a sitting position. Please understand, like I said, you want to reverse diabetes. If you want something, you got to work for it. Nothing comes easy in life. Everyone who has reversed their diabetes has put a little bit of effort into their lifestyle for the larger good. So it really comes down to the sacrifices that you make and where you assign value. If you assign more value to reversing diabetes, then there are certain things that you need to do. If you assign more value to your entertainment and lesser value to your health, then you got to be responsible for the consequences of your decisions. Okay, so that's it when it comes to food. Number three, when it comes to food, start slowing down when you eat. The speed at which you eat has an impact on your insulin. The slower you eat, the more digestion, the more you chew, digestion of carbohydrates and fat starts in the mouth. The more the food gets broken down in your mouth and mixes with your saliva, you start the digestion process in your mouth. By the time it reaches your stomach, it is already pre-digested. So please understand, and even when you're treating yourself, you're having a dessert, you're having a piece of cake or a cookie, all the more reason you chew that really, really well. You want to mix it with maximum saliva before you swallow it. So chewing your food, eating slow, extremely important. Number five, the rule when it comes to food. If you are eating under stress, if you are eating your meals when you're stressed out with distraction, under anger, negative emotions, your insulin levels are going to spike. Your blood sugar levels are going to spike. The human body is not designed to break down food under stress. It will still break down food because it's called survival, but your blood sugar levels, your blood pressure, cholesterol, everything will be out of whack. Calm down, Make sure you have no distractions. Put your phones away, put the television off, have a nice family meal, bless your food, take a couple of deep breaths, start eating your food, keep 15 to 20 minutes so you can chew your food, enjoy it mindfully, finish your food, give thanks for your food, and that's it. Simple job 3 times a day if you're eating 3 times a day. It's as simple as that. These little things have brought the best results. When you're reversing type 2 diabetes, it's not complicated at all. It becomes complicated when you are only dependent on medication and you are not changing your lifestyle. So let's move into the next vertical: exercise. If you're sedentary, what's going to happen is your medication is going to increase over time. Understand that. Okay, blood flow is very important for the pancreas. It is very important to prevent insulin resistance and to improve insulin resistance at the same time. So if you don't have exercise in your life, you cannot reverse your type 2 diabetes. It is going to get worse and it is going to harm you. 30 minutes a day is more than sufficient for everyone. You can make it 1 hour, that's even better for you. The best kind of exercise that we've seen for people with diabetes is definitely yoga, because there are asanas to help you with your diabetes. Walking, a combination of walking, cardio, and weight training is also fabulous for you. Basically, any exercise is good for you. What's really worked for people is that if you can do this again for 7 days, you will notice a decrease in your blood sugar levels post your meals. 20 to 30 minutes after breakfast, lunch, and dinner, try to walk for 10 minutes. Okay? Now, how you do it, that's your problem. I can only give you the tips. Now, you need to figure out, I can't come and solve all your problems that you have in your life. But like I said, where there's a will, there's a way. Figure it out. It's not impossible. So about 20 to 30 minutes after breakfast, lunch, and dinner, try to walk for 10 minutes. What I like to do is I plan some calls, 30 minutes after lunch, breakfast, dinner. So I know I have to take those calls and I walk around for 10 minutes finishing those calls. Do that. It is extremely good for your blood sugar levels. Now, when it comes to exercise as well, if you are overtraining and not resting and recovering enough, that's an issue with your blood sugar levels. You need to understand, it is extremely important for you to understand, do not overtrain. If you are overtraining, make sure you have more recovery and good quality sleep. Extremely important. Pranayama is excellent for diabetes. Excellent. There are certain pranayamas that can help you. Find a yoga teacher, go online, whatever it is, but learn the art of breathing. Because when we are stressed out, it's not just our stress levels that go up. Our stress hormones go up, our blood sugar levels go up, cholesterol goes up, and BP goes up. The quickest way to calm ourselves down is with our breath, with our breathing. Slower inhales, slower exhales, and we can actually move the body from the sympathetic nervous system, which is stress, the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. So basically, we resume homeostasis. When we resume homeostasis faster, our blood sugar levels fall in place way faster. So do all the training you want, but more training means more recovery and more rest. That brings us into the third vertical, which is your sleep. There is enough of medical and scientific data showing us the impact of irregular sleep cycles and sleep deprivation on your blood sugar levels. You can have the best diabetologists in the country, you can have the best nutritionists in the country, but if you are sleep deprived and you have irregular patterns of going to sleep and waking up, your blood sugar levels are going to be all over the place. So that means more medication. But is that the solution? It takes you common sense to figure out that it is not a solution. The solution is correcting your sleep habits. As simple as that. We've done several videos on how you can improve your sleep habits, so we're going to send that to you. I've also done specific videos on insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, which we will also send you. So once you watch them, you can try to be more specific about your condition and follow the lifestyle changes over there. Today, I'm just talking about the top lifestyle changes where 99% of our patients get reversed. And it's time that you do it right now. It is not safe for you as a diabetic in today's world. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to induce fear into you. I don't have to do that because you already know every single doctor is warning people with diabetes, stay at home. Stay at home because of the complications that are involved with a diabetic getting COVID. So I'm not trying to induce fear in you. I'm just trying to tell you, start taking care of it. Use this time to motivate yourself to get rid of your diabetes. Okay, before I talk more about sleep, losing weight, every little bit of fat that you burn off your body will also help you to stabilize your blood sugar levels. So if you are carrying weight, especially in your abdominal area, belly fat, I'm not saying you got to have a six-pack. I'm not saying you got to have a size 0 figure. But I'm just saying if you are carrying excessive weight in your belly area, your arms, your inner thighs, your cellulite, your back fat, please understand you already have an issue which is called metabolic syndrome, which is a combination of body fat, obesity, and high blood sugar levels. And if you have high BP with that, that's advanced metabolic syndrome. You need to take care of it with lifestyle. Please understand, it's very important. You may say, oh, I don't care how I look. Everyone accepts me the way I am. Yes, that's good. Your body image is really, really good for you. I appreciate that. But it doesn't change the fact that you need to lose excessive fat if you have diabetes. Please understand, obesity and diabetes are directly linked with each other. You have to understand something. Every time you have more fat cells accumulating in your body, these fat cells need new arteries to supply blood. So you see, the process is called angiogenesis, where your body makes more blood vessels to supply new fat cells. So new fat cells, new blood vessels means more burden on your pancreas, more burden on your insulin, and all of these issues in the human body, including inflammation. So lose that weight, burn that fat. It's not about your weighing scale weight coming down. It's about you burning body fat. So coming back to sleep, please understand, sleep at 10, sleep at 11, watch Netflix, but have an organized life. The best time to sleep is to try to sleep 2 hours before midnight. Okay, if you can't sleep 2 hours before midnight, it's 11 or 12 or whatever, but at least sleep at the same time every day and try to wake up before sunrise or with sunrise. Waking up at 9, 10, 11 just raises havoc with your blood sugar levels. Of course, if you're doing a night shift, then you would just be turning it on its head. People who work night shifts have to behave completely the opposite from people who are living a normal day-night cycle. This is because of the circadian rhythm. While you're sleeping, once the sun has risen, okay, light starts your circadian rhythm. Your blood sugar levels, your cortisol, adrenaline, every single hormone starts working, but guess what? You're still sleeping. So you automatically create a fluctuation and an imbalance. So you want to correct your sleep habits, extremely important. The fourth vertical, very, very important, is emotional wellness. Again, tons of scientific and medical connections between chronic stress and blood sugar levels. Today, we see cases of people who have type 2 diabetes only caused because of stress. Everything else is fine. Their food habits are great. Their sleep is pretty okay. Exercise is great, but they're chronically stressed. A little bit of stress is good for us. It motivates us. It gets us to work. It gets us to, meet our goals. All of that is fine. I'm talking about chronic stress, chronic anger, chronic bitterness, inability to forgive, chronic resentment, chronic jealousy, chronic anxiety, chronic worry, inability to relax. You need to understand that your body responds to everything, whether it's something you've seen on television, it's something someone said to you, it's something that you heard someone say to someone else. All that plays on your mind and creates some amount of tension in the body. When there's tension in the body, your cortisol and adrenaline levels will go up. When that goes up, your insulin gets impacted, your blood sugar, your thyroxine, everything, which is why stress is the root cause of every disease. It has its place in every single disease. You need to learn the art of relaxation. Whether you meditate, whether you have a hobby, whether you sit in silence, whether you pray, whatever it is, you need to do more of it. Because if you are chronically stressed, there is no way you can reverse your type 2 diabetes. It's going to get worse, which means more medication, which means more complication. So learn. Today I'm pretty much tired of the mentality of most people when they say, but Luke, everyone has stress. And my question is, yes, everyone has stress. What are you doing about it? Everyone's doing drugs too. Does that mean you're going to start doing drugs? So we got to start being a little bit strong with ourselves and figuring that if we want to solve a problem, there are things that we need to start doing. One of them is learning to relax. I'm also going to send you a video that we did on how to manage worry, how to manage stress, and how to manage anxiety. Because the more anxious you are, the more fluctuation you are going to have in your blood sugar levels. That is 100%. No drug in the world can have that impact on you, okay, and can take away what stress does to your blood sugar levels. All your doctors will do is say, oh, your blood sugar levels are fluctuating. Let's start a new drug. Now you're on 2 different drugs for diabetes. What does that tell you about your body? What does that tell you about your lifestyle? One thing, you're getting worse. It's as simple as that. You're getting worse. But the medical world is all cool about, oh, take another drug. Take another drug. You're going to be fine. Like I said, I have nothing against them, okay? But you are only getting treated for your symptoms. You are still diabetic and you are still sick. And you need to make that change right now with your lifestyle. Even 10 minutes of meditation in a day is fantastic for you. 5 to 10 minutes of pranayama is relaxing enough for you. You listening to 2 to 3 of your favorite songs is relaxing for you. Painting, reading, whatever it is that allows you complete relaxation will have a positive impact on your blood sugar levels. It's as simple as that. We need to understand, you need to learn how to relax. Worry, anxiety solves no one's problem, so it's useless. Most of us worry and we're anxious because of our ego and pride. We want to be in control all the time. You can't be in control all the time. And the sooner you learn that, the better it's going to be for your health, because then you're going to have to learn the art of letting go and acceptance of things that you cannot control. And then your blood sugar levels are also going to fall in place. Now, if it's hereditary, okay, what are some of the same lifestyle changes that your parents had that you are still doing? Nothing has to be hereditary. There are sometimes very strong cases of very strong genes, okay, which we see, but that's probably 1% of all the cases that we see in a year. You need to understand, if you're continuing to live the lifestyle that your parents are, eating the foods that probably caused your parents diabetes, you're going to have diabetes too. So you got to make changes. You have to make changes. And I can tell you again, it is extremely easy for you to reverse your type 2 diabetes. With all the points I just said, try them. First, go low carb. Extremely important, very simple. Today's dinner and all meals for the next 1 week, reduce your carbs by 1 tablespoon. Reduce your carbs by 1 roti or half a roti. Multiply that by 3 meals 7 times in 7 days. You are bound to see a change in your blood sugar levels. Add in the exercise, like I said, proper sleep hygiene, taking control over your stress or learning to relax. That's the formula that we reverse type 2 diabetes with. Of course, some people have complications. We would love to see blood sugar levels, because then diets can be planned more effectively. But we have a lot of people who have not even followed diet plans, but they've just followed the lifestyle tips and they have learned how to manage their diabetes and eventually reverse it. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. The problem is, are you going to do it? The question is, will you do it? Because everything given free is never taken. It's always taken for granted. Think about it. We have sunlight that's free. How many of you use it? We have air around us. How many of us even breathe the right way? You know, we have so much around us which is free, but we always tend to take it for granted. If you are serious about reversing your type 2 diabetes, which you should at a time like this today, if you look at the NHS in the UK, okay, they have clearly stated that people who are obese and people who are diabetic have a massive chance of not only getting the virus, but more complications of recovering from it. You do not want to be that person. Okay, you do not want to be that person. And like I always tell people, take responsibility and accountability for your health. If your body is sick or something's wrong in your body, that should concern you. That should concern you to address it at a root cause level. Because if you're 30 or 35 with diabetes today, what are you going to be when you're 55? If you're on one med today to keep your diabetic levels in check at 35, what's it going to be when you're 45 or 55 or 60? You got to start thinking about these things right now so that you could motivate yourself into action, into right action, the right lifestyle changes, and that's all. So these are the lifestyle tips. I am sending you a couple of links, which I would like you to go through, a couple of videos, which I would like you to go through. I'm also sending you a link of the Circadian Rhythm book that teaches you. We've had hundreds of people whose diabetic levels have literally fallen just by living the circadian way. So I'm not going to take time on this call to explain that. I'm going to send you a link. You can download the free book and read how simple it is in 9 steps to live the circadian way. And like those people who have literally changed their diabetes levels, you can do that too. Number one, you got to believe. If you don't believe, nothing's ever going to change. Have a great evening, everyone.